And ladies and gentlemen, moving on to the next session, which is about new age procurement strategy. And for the same, I would like to introduce the speaker. Mr. Mukesh Nandan is a seasoned professional with extensive project experience in power sector, including solar, generation companies, distribution companies, and transmission companies with more than 2 decades with KEC, Sterlite, Adani, UB, Reliance, and presently with VIKRAN Group. He has a strong background in purchase and contracts, focusing on techno-commercial aspects and supply chain management. His notable achievements include leading procurement and tender activities for substations and a battery energy storage system. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put a huge round of applause for Mr. Mukesh Nandan Jha, General Manager, Supply Chain and Logistics at VIKRAN Engineering and Exim Private Limited.
Thank you. Yeah, Nitin will also join us. Yes, yes.
And also another speaker for the same session, Mr. Nitin Athavle. He is a highly experienced general manager and head of supply chain at Rachana Lifestyle in Pune. With over 3 decades of expertise in finance, strategic planning, procurement, warehousing, logistics, exports and imports. He is a versatile professional. Nitin also shares his knowledge as a visiting faculty member at various universities, including Pune University, and is pursuing a PhD in lean construction. His black belt certification in Lean Six Sigma underscores his commitment to process excellence and continuous improvements. Let's have a huge round of applause for Mr. Nitin Athavle with us.
Thank you.
So requesting you to begin with the session.
Thank you. Thank you once again to all dear, I think, all the members who wants to listen once more. So we have one thing what I have skipped in the morning session, that is a session on the new procurement age strategy. So what strategy we are going to follow for this 2023 and coming year, and what shall be the major roles for new age procurement strategy for all the procurement leaders for the coming by 2050, and what they could do. So we have something, our ask with the government, our ask with the buyer, our ask with the lead buyers. So starting with that, the first slide already Nitin is there, and we are already introduced by the team members of GS. By one of the things what supplier relationship management, and which is a subject topic and everyone is aware about that because we all are the procurement leaders, so no need to describe this word. But with respect to the 2023, where we are stands for and what we are the critical challenges with the procurement teams. First, might be they have the data, complete data in the scarcity of complete data with them. How much suppliers data bank they would have to be catered, or how much supplier data shape they have to understand, how many total suppliers or the total partner vendors available in the market who can work with them. Because we are not working only on the price strategy, we are working on the partnership strategy, we are working on the VFS strategy. VFS stands for vendor financing. What internally, because partner is financing to their supplier is financing itself a point of a credit terms or the credit period to their buyer, and the buyer is just same credit terms pass on to their client. So, so complete this strategy with respect to the strong relationship with the new expectations. From where? One is the buyer, another is the supplier, and the third who is the transporter. So the three buyer, supplier and transporter relationship jointly mixed together for this 2023 strategy, where I am just discussing about the total 7 points we will discuss in this. First is the use of technology. Technology means in the procurement, technology is first thing where we can use the ENFA or the portals, where we can directly send the inquiries to the supplier. without any proper concern from the buyers. So total number of supplier list on the web portal, and your inquiry will be converted into RFX, and directly that will send to the suppliers. So that one technology what we are using nowadays, and what changes we require? We require there should not be the complete botherness of the buyer, because once if management has freeze, these many suppliers are complete approved for one of the categories, like we can add a transformer is the one of the category what we are using. So major suppliers of the transformer like Hitachi, GE and all the suppliers are already implemented in the list in the portal, and the inquiry is directly sent to them. It's no any loopholes for the buyers and the supplier relationship that they could, each individual they can raise a complaint on the same. So this should be the new age of procurement, where we are stands for blindly sending an inquiry to the competitive and the extraordinary suppliers who approved for that product. So where we can stop the role of any gap between the buyer and the supplier. Second, we are thinking about the sustainability. From since morning we are discussing about the sustainability. So sustainability is the nowadays first requirement for all of us. And the same points I am not going to repeat, but sustainability is the same. We have to work that how much data, how much report, accurate report with us. The accuracy of the sustainability is important for us. Third, we are going for the strategic sourcing. It's a simple, it's coming from since last 5 to 6 years strategic sourcing for the long-term relationship with the partners. But now, when we are connecting with availability of the material, connected with the delivery of the material, and third, for cost of the material. So these all three strategically comes one together. First, when credit comes to all the three phases, so that your rotation of the financial implication will come to the next level. So that is the one strategy we can connect it with the buyer, supplier and logistics, all the partners and including the client, because you are also providing credit to your end clients. So that is connected with the strategic source. Next, some of the freezing of LSP partners for the ESP, for the EPC companies, but who are really into the LSPs, they could again connect it with the shipping lines and the forwarder and the shippers. So that is the third strategy they can do for the logistics sections. For the buyer supplier, we have already considered that number of suppliers who can give the IFC terms of the credits, and how they could both can assign, either they can connect it to the bank also, and they can get the some of the payment security from their ends. So that combination strategic sourcing required nowadays to mitigate the time, delivery and finance, all three. Time, money and cost jisko bolte, that we can take it from their side. So and next is the increased collaborations. Still we can see some of the gaps with the supplier, some of the gaps in the internal CFT. CFT stands for the cross-functional team, who are the internal stakeholders. If procurement is the team of the one stakeholders, then another stakeholders is the project team. Third stakeholders is the engineering team. So they individual three teams has to internally increase their collaboration, so the final output will come proper. Otherwise, the things will that we are asking for the 680 megawatt each module, and somebody will buy the 500 watt of module, which is under rating. So that we could consider how we increase the collaboration between us. That is required, especially required, because previously missing these gaps in with the procurement team. Next is the emphasis on the compliance, already well known. So I am just taking the more time on this. Greater focus on data and analytics. Same data analytics, where we have to understand we can increase the demand and the supply chain of our internal team, as well as with the other shareholders also. The growing importance of cyber security, where we are talking about the many IT companies who are supporting on this, and they are also growing day by day, and they are providing this service to us, because we have all the data on our server that might be taken care. Because last day I remember some of the good company in EPC division whose data was hacked by the international party of that. So that is the one part where we have to focus nowadays. Then last is the increased use of blockchain. Today morning, I think blockchain was taken care by Procol also. That is the blockchain, which is we have to increase the use of this. Next is the procurement policy for the new age. What we already speak in the morning. One of the part is that what government should provide to us. Some of the percentage already mentioned in the market, for the 25% for the MSME and the other parts where we have to place the order to them. And the other 4% for the total procurement goods from the micro and small. We have to increase this so that local market will come into their further level of development, and who can come to us. Because when we develop these small partners, finally that will increase the major demand of our country, major demand of the EPC industries, major demand of the steel industry, and all the industries where requirement of these things. And second, sustainability procurement. Sustainability already spoke in the morning also as well, and we are adding this with the ESG. So principles into the procurement, policies, what policies we already understood from the government side. Second, we are adding some of the policies from the government, what is coming by next 2 years. What is our ask with the governance? Already some points will be added by Nitin also. Last is the our 4 responsibilities, that is coming to the sustainable procurement team, that is coming with environmental steward. So E, H and S. So that is coming with the economic development and with the innovation in the supply chain. Next, coming to the strength and improve supplier relationship. So Nitin will add on this.
Okay. Am I audible? Okay. So since morning we are discussing about the supplier relationship, strengthening relationship with the suppliers, and strategic partnership. Many times we hear so many things about all these lines. We all are procurement professionals. I am also like you, working for last so many decades in this sector, and I worked with electronics giant companies and now with the construction company. Over a period of last 3+ decades, I have found that we as a larger company or working on a larger volumes and larger sales, we try to sometimes dictate our terms to the small entrepreneurs. Because I also work with the MSME sector very closely, I know the pain areas where these people are finding it difficult to really cope up with this strategic partnership terminology, what we say and what we discuss here in this forum. So actually, to my viewpoint, I would say as a procurement professional, we should really go in detail to understand what exactly is this partnership really meant for those people with whom we work day in and out. A small entrepreneur supplying raw materials to us has to be a real partner to us. Here it is not the case. We may discuss, but in real terms, he might not be having the same meaning what we have about him as a strategic partner. Correct? So how do we do that? We are involving him in every discussion. We are calling him for the negotiations. We are discussing with him. We are trying to discuss so many things with him about the contracts. How he is going to get benefit after this contract and so on and so on. But real terms mein, whether he is getting that benefit, what we have visualized to him lies the question mark to me as a professional. I started my career with a electronics giant called Sharp Corporation, a Japanese company, and I was fortunate enough to have a boss, a Japanese boss, and at a very young age, he gave me good knowledge about treating the supplier not only as a supplier, but as an equal partner. At a very, very young age, things were made very clear to me how we think about the supplier. And certain things are very, very different here in Indian context as compared to the Japanese context. They see a supplier as an equal partner, whereas we see him as a supplier, a vendor. We never do a partnership analysis. We do a supplier analysis. We do vendor rating. We don't do partner rating. We need to consider him as an equal partner because he is the one who is helping us to improve our business and our bottom lines. Right? So from that point of view, we as a procurement professionals need to now change. We need to quickly change because we all are pretty agile and resilient towards the supply chains as well. So we need to slowly shift our focus from the supply chain towards this, taking the suppliers or taking the vendors or these partners together in our business growth or in our business environment. So what do we do is we try to create the communication system with them. Any supplier, if we want to ask them or if we want to tell them, ki bhai, we have developed an application, now you need to integrate with us. The first thing he will ask us, sir, mujhe kya milega? Correct? You also represent a small or a big enterprise. The question remains, who will bear the cost? A small application will cost between 1.25 to 5 lakh rupees. Plus the development cost and the running cost is different. So we need to understand the channel of communication that we are trying to impose on him, being a very multinational company, really whether it is going to help him or not. And if it is not going to help him, probably he will not help us to get this app integrated with us, right? Then we need to have a very healthy communication. Here I would say the point number 4, learn to listen and listen to learn from the suppliers. Major change we need to bring into our ideologies and concepts so far as procurement professionals are concerned. We need to be very professional from this aspect because we are not ready to learn from the suppliers internally. Because we, as I said, working on a very large scale, we try to dominate the supplier. Correct? So that should not be the case. Now is the time that we need to change. Then data-driven decisions. Of course, we all procurement professionals are working with the dashboards and we take decisions on the data that is reaching out from the devices. Treat every supplier, contractor, driver, etc. as an equal partner. That is the point that I was stressing upon. And it really, I mean, it is in my blood. So I all the time promote this concept to treat every driver, even we need to give him tea, water, everything whenever he reaches to our factory or at our workplace. Then create trustworthy business environment. That is very much needed in the present scenario. Now, how will we develop this? Can anybody tell me how are we going to develop a trustworthiness with the suppliers? क्या करने से हासिल होगा? Okay. With respect to? Whatever we assure during the discussion. नहीं बड़ा मतलब what is that supplier expects from this word trustworthy? When we commit something, that is what he expects some payment from us. Ultimate aim is he needs to have the payment in time.
Timely payment.
Correct? Apart of the payment, वो क्या चाहता है? What is that he is expecting from us as a procurement professional or as a procurement guy? Yeah, so, I'll try to merge 2-3 points together. The quick response from the procurement professionals. Many times in many companies, whenever I go for a training program, I find the procurement professionals are not equipped to handle a phone call coming out from the supplier for payment because he or she is not having the right information with him. Payment kab milega? I'll just check and I'll revert back. Matrans, वो supplier बैठा है 700 किलोमीटर दूर, or he might be in Bangladesh or he might be in Kuwait. He is asking for some feedback and we are not able to respond in time. So quick response and that to correct response matters a lot being a procurement professional. Next. Yeah, so I'll stress upon adding value to the chain. Adding value to the chain is not a new concept in supply chain. But adding value in these aspects matters a lot for us to be a professional. You and me will be recognized in the market only if we add value from these aspects. आप देखिए, आपके जितने भी सप्लायर हैं, आप कभी भी पूछिए, you ask them, how will you rate us? As we rate those suppliers, you need to ask them, how will you rate us? And what is the criteria that they have with them? Like we have some criteria, 18, 20 criteria to rate these suppliers. We need to have those feedback from them. How is the supplier rating us as a customer? And probably if we have these ideologies, these concepts very, very clear in our thought process and getting reflected into our actions, probably the supplier will get really amalgamated, collaborated in real terms with us. That is my way of looking at this.
Next.
Next. Yeah.
So perfect, well communication from the Nitin side. I think I added both the points. But when we are just thinking about this topic, new strategy for the procurement, so what comes in our mind? So our mind is just thinking that what nowadays, today's a buyer and the procurement leaders are asking or the searching from the market. So their demands are only three. One, can we place the order with the complete and clear quantity? Can we commit to the supplier on the payment, what they are asking for? Or are we aligning the both mutual agreed payment terms? Third, delivery should be delivery timeline should be proper and with respect to the clear technical quality. Because already they've worked on the T1 and L1, so they have to come forward. So already we have discussed in the morning on the same, that what could we add new to the new age procurement strategy. So first thing comes in our mind, that complete data transparency between all of us. All of us means in the internal CFT with respect to the buyer, clear discussion with the supplier. What market is already, small market is there, open market is there. Each and everyone is connected with the individual competitors and the suppliers and the other team members. So they can easily trace your prices and other things. So transparency with your suppliers, your partners, your vendors, and convince on the complete clear thoughts. Delivery timeline should be clear, supply quantity should be clear, and the payment terms should be clear. And that should be obeyed by the both ends. So that should be the transparency comes in the new procurement age strategy. In the same thing, we have some of the stages of procurement cycle, which is already common for all. We are not giving you any new things, but as we forgot some of the things, so identification of the business needs, what we are searching for. If I am going to buy solar modules, so we have to be completely ready with the film, voltage levels, their wattage of the modules, delivery from the supplier ends with respect to the project site locations. So clarity of all the things. Then purchase requisition approvals. The same PR is coming into the market. That PR into the buyers, to the buyers. So PR raised to the buyers and approvals properly. So that should be the SLA aligned. SLA should not be misguiding. So service level agreement should be fixed for which category of items, the PR to PO align with the SLA. Then RFX creation and executions is the same thing, where we have to create the RFQ, proper RFQ with the technical data, including availability of the market at that time with supplier, because nowadays we have faced the scarcity of the material and the demand with respect to the supply. Both data are unclear into the market, because this is completely not clear. We have for the some of the fields where is the demand is high. Choose a vendor and negotiate contract terms is the common things what we are doing. Implement the integrate vendor collaborations. That is a partnership what we can do and fall on the 4 quadrilateral of the procurements. Review the supplier performance, that will come into the vendor evaluations criteria. You can go with the SAP also, we can use the Ariba also, you can develop a new software also for this data, because which vendors what was the delivery timeline and what was the payment cycle we have done to them. So all the criteria parameters we can club and then come on to this. Same the invoices records, which is important for the suppliers because otherwise the payment will be delayed. Last, some of the government becoming more involved in the trade. What we have also discussed, that we are seeking ask from the government what they have to also add on, so that our ease of doing business should be smooth. That is the one of the portions where we can work properly. Third, what like in the logistic I can see that like the JNPT, because nearby us, so we can understand the JNPT work pressure is huge and they have planned to move there one more port nearby that is called Vadhavan, is the 150 kilometer nearby the JNPT. What was that they have done? That is the demand of the time, that one port is full, can we move it to the another port where we can easily handle the material, we can move the CFS to there. So that is the part what they are thinking for. So these are some of the asks from the government. Thank you all. Thanks to all of you for listening us.